Greetings, members, one and all of the Salivation Nation. Silver. You know, many of us have been a bit frustrated over the past few years with the prices languishing where they've been a little bit lower. But as of late, we've been kind of seeing them creep up a bit. Could this be the beginning of the end of lower silver prices? Let's find out. This is a time when many of us wonder, what's it going to take to cause the prices for silver to really shoot up? Many of us remember the times when silver was at $20 an ounce, at $30 an ounce, and for a brief time in 2011, close to $50 an ounce. There was certainly a slingshot type of scenario that occurred back in 2011 to cause the prices to really jump upward. But most now understand that that was an anomaly and certainly not the norm. But many of us feel that perhaps in time we will see the prices slingshot up again. But perhaps more from a natural sort of an indication and psychological as well. But getting to that point, what's it going to take? What will be the catalyst for that jump in silver prices? Many of us got a bit excited considering, the foundations of our wealth being in silver and gold, because usually silver does follow gold in terms of price movement. But many feel that with that high ratio between gold to silver being out of the norm, but really in a sense becoming the new norm, that we are long overdue to see silver catch up with gold in terms of its price reflection. And in terms of that narrowing of that silver to gold ratio, many of us feel that silver to gold ratio should probably be closer to 60 or maybe even 50 to 1. When it's, been hovering at the high 70s or low 80s to 1 for quite a while. The languishing of silver. But in this video, we're going to discuss and contemplate what would be the thing that could cause the prices to slingshot upward. And in a sense, this is somewhat independent of gold because silver is a metal that can be accumulated in various different sizes and forms, and typically it does cost less. And so accumulating it and buying it and selling it, and from that secondary market, I think is where you're going to see the cost increase based off of what's known as investor demand. Although I don't like to use that term in relation to silver because I don't see it as an investment. I see it as a hedge, a protection against economic instability. But by and large, demand is relatively down in terms of picking it up for what you and I have it to stack as a preservation of wealth, as a haven. Whereas gold, it's been relatively steady to a point, but silver, in terms of its uses and its and the demand, has been mostly in the area of industrial, biomedical, and technology uses. But I believe that could change. We have seen demand pick up somewhat early this year, especially with the American Silver Eagle, shortages of the blanks for those and being able to process those because of a pickup of demand during the beginning part of this year. And that's with some increase in prices. And imagine if the prices continue to rise up a bit rather than stay flat this year. I believe that if they do continue to rise up, we will possibly see an increase in demand for what's known as investor grade or bullion pieces, such as you see here. And what you see before you is a bit of the larger sizes for silver, but obviously most people buy them in 1 ounce size. But nonetheless, I feel that with the increased prices, if they slowly creep up, as some predict they will this year, I believe we are going to see eventually a slingshot type scenario where the prices and people will be wanting to get on the silver bandwagon, as it were, and they'll continue to accumulate and increase their supply. It'll be sort of like a buzz type of scenario. It's like, hey, everybody's getting silver now. I don't think it'll get to the point where it was in 2011, but I do believe as the prices continue to climb, I believe we will see demand increase on the bullion side for silver. And so stackers will continue to stack and maybe even increase their stacks. And considering where supply is now, supply is somewhat decreasing for a myriad of reasons. And, of course, that could change, by the way, if the prices do continue to climb upward. I believe there will be more aggressive mining, especially in Peru and Mexico, and that will translate to an increased supply to keep up with the demand. But how much will it increase? How much will they be able to find to be able to be cost conscious, so to speak? So there's a lot of different factors that come into play, notwithstanding the regular factors that come into play with regards to silver price and precious metal prices in general. You've got things like economics and what the Federal Reserve is going to do. You've got factors that come into play, such as geopolitics. Any kind of black swan event could come along. You've got things like Brexit. You've got the economic situation in other nations, such as China and India. How many nations are there out there that are accumulating silver? And that kind of demand has got to come into play when you consider all of the factors that we study here to see where the prices are going to be down the road. But I do believe there will come a time when the prices will creep up just enough. Now, at what point, at what price point will that be? I don't know. My feeling is that price point is going to be somewhere above $20 an ounce. And then we may see more interest in silver. And I've seen this before. When I first started this channel, the prices would creep back down, and then they would start to steadily climb back up, and people were thinking this is the time it's going to go back up to close to $40 an ounce or what have you. And so people were picking up silver, thinking it's just around the corner. And when we got burnt, when those times happened, it was disappointing. We thought prices were going to climb back up to near $50 an ounce. And it just never happened, because later we found out that really was an anomaly, sort of like the Hunt brothers in 1980. I don't think we're going to see $50 silver anytime soon, but I think that we could be at the cusp of a slingshot of sorts. And I do believe that will be an increased demand, because we're already seeing, more interest in silver now. And if that interest does grow and increase to the point where the quote investor side of the silver pie, so to speak, increases 10 to 15% more, that could really cause a major impact on pricing, on the pricing model, on the spot price of silver, on the physical side. Who knows what the paper markets are doing? And of course, we all understand that there is some manipulation that does occur in the paper markets, in the electronic trading of silver, and there will be some probably attempt to suppress the price thereof. But nonetheless, I believe there's only so much that can be done there. Natural market forces are extremely powerful, and I do believe in those natural market forces. And there's so many different factors that affect the price. Even the manipulators can't really foretell what's going on or what can happen there. And so silver is a metal to behold for sure. And there is a wide gap between the price of gold and silver. As we all know, that gold to silver ratio is high. It's become the new norm. Do I think it'll get down to where it should be? No. But do I think it will narrow? I do believe it will. and that narrowing will be that slingshot that I discussed here. And so, what are your thoughts? Silver is a metal to acquire. We are acquiring it as we can afford to do so. And I do believe in silver, although, as most of you know, my efforts have been for the past few years to try to accumulate a bit more gold purchases than silver. It's been tough. Silver is a metal that's very easy to purchase, and you can get it in a myriad of different sizes, as you see here. But I believe it's something that I will hold on to, because you never know. That slingshot could happen. And I believe it could happen this year, and it could happen next year. But I want to make a very strong point. That does not mean that I think that it's going to go to what's known as the moon. And I don't think it's going to go back up to $50 an ounce or what have you. But I believe that we may see a slingshot of sorts. And the price will jump up to a point where we're going to look back today and see that $15 silver was quite a bargain, for sure. So post your thoughts below about this subject, about the slingshotting of the silver price. Would like to extend a multitude of gratitude to y'all for watching, and encourage you to please rate, comment, and subscribe.